Parents know this feeling. I was never excited about the idea of my daughter dating. When she left for college, I thought I had at least a few years of peace before I would have to meet some irritating boyfriend and pretend to like him. But only 3 months in, she brought home Ethan. Ethan was exactly the type of guy I never imagined for my daughter. He was lanky, had perpetually messy hair, and said dude way too much. He was polite, but his completely laid-back, borderline horizontal attitude rubbed me the wrong way. My daughter was responsible and focused. Ethan seemed like he just coasted through life without a care, treating deadlines like suggestions. I tolerated him, but just barely. For months, I kept my conversation short. I answered his greetings with terse nods and non-committal grunts, never giving him much to work with. If he asked me a question, I gave a one-word answer and immediately went back to pretending to read my phone. No matter how cold I was, he always smiled, acted like we were already close, and kept showing up with that same easygoing attitude. Then came the family dinner. My wife cooked a huge meal. Ethan came over, and we all sat down to eat. Everything was fine until my wife and daughter realized they had forgotten a key ingredient for dessert. They decided to run to the store, leaving me alone in the house with Ethan for the first time ever. The silence that descended was unbearable. I scrolled aimlessly through my phone, pretending to be busy with something of great consequence, while Ethan sat across the table staring intently at a salt shaker, looking like he was trying to will himself out of the entire time-space continuum. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, he cleared his throat. It was a nervous, almost pathetic sound. He looked up at me and quietly said, "So, do you like whiskey?" I looked up. The kid looked genuinely nervous and vulnerable. I simply nodded. His face immediately lit up. I actually brought a bottle my dad got me for my birthday. He whispered excitedly, "It's supposed to be really good. Want to try it?" I had no idea why, but something in his earnest hope broke my resolve. I stood up and said yes. At first, it was just as awkward as before. We poured 2 hefty glasses and sipped our drinks in a heavy silence. Neither of us sure what to say now, but the polite barrier was down. Then, he started telling me a story. It was about how he had tried to impress my daughter by taking her rock climbing. He ended up getting stuck halfway up the wall and had to be rescued by an instructor, all while my daughter stood at the bottom laughing hysterically. I laughed too, a real, genuine guttural laugh. I told him about the time I entered a chili eating contest to impress my wife when we were dating, only to throw up all over a state senator's expensive Italian shoes. 1 drink turned into 2. 2 turned into more than I could count. We started talking about everything. Music, movies, embarrassing college stories, and terrible investment ideas. I found out Ethan was not as aimless as I thought. He had solid plans and was actively working towards starting his own small business. He wasn't just completely carefree. He just consciously chose not to stress over things he could not control, a stark contrast to my own anxiety-ridden life. At some point, we got loud. We were laughing, shouting, and drunkenly slapping the kitchen table. By the time my wife and daughter came back with the forgotten dessert, we were completely drunk, swaying slightly, and singing along loudly to an old rock song neither of us actually knew the full words to. My wife stood there, completely unimpressed by the boisterous scene. My daughter stood in the doorway, staring at us like we had completely lost our minds. Ethan, ever the gentleman, simply grinned at my wife and slurred out, "Ma'am, I love your cooking." That was it. I lost it. That night changed everything. I stopped tolerating Ethan and actually started liking him. Now, he is like a second son to me, always there to help fix things or just crack open a bottle. I still do not know exactly how it happened, but somehow, over a few drinks and a ridiculous conversation, he utterly won me over. And honestly, I'm glad he did.